So Jeremy, in this lecture, we're going to talk about the 12 Agile principles.
Okay.
So we talked about the 4 values, right? But these are a little bit more elaborate guidelines for us to make decisions in our day-to-day life when we're developing software.
Okay.
So here you go. We'll just talk about the first principle. The number 1 is delivering value faster. What it's saying is, in the waterfall world where most of the people come from, there is the requirement gathering and requirement validation, and then you do the design and the development and the testing, and then it goes to prod.
Sure.
It takes forever.
It's a long pole.
Yeah, a few months before a customer can see any kind of value in the product. And even when customer uses this product after 6 months, they might find a lot of things they might not even like. So it's not valuable. So what this principle is saying is, you show them the value early on. You work for maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks, and you build a vertical slice of a feature, and you put that in the hands of a customer and say, customer, use this. What do you think about this? And that is what this principle is trying to say.
Awesome. All right, so that's the first one. Deliver value faster. All right, what about number 2?
The second one is welcome change even in the later phase of the software development. This is a reference to the waterfall world where once you lock in the requirements and give it to the developers, you cannot really change the requirements.
Very difficult.
Very difficult, right? So here what they're saying is, think about giving an advantage to the customer. Think about working with the customer. You're literally partnering with the customer. You're asking them. When the customer comes to you, he might have an idea of what he wants. But it's unfair for us to lock his ideas down because it's so much early on in the development. He doesn't even know what he wants.
He's making a lot of guesses, right?
Yeah, he's making a lot of guesses. So what we're saying is, okay, let's just start with some of the highest priority items that We'll work on that, and we'll allow you to change in maybe a month, 2 months. And we're doing this because the market is very competitive. Out there, people are producing software right away,
sure,
in a few days to a few weeks, right? So we want to adapt to the competitive market out there, and we want to serve the customer in a way where we're not locking them into the initial requirements. And even though we have a great plan, things always happen. So it's more important for us to respond to that change or respond to that crisis than just following the plan.
Yeah, and I think every project I've ever been a part of, Agile or waterfall or anything, basically what you know at the beginning, even after you've gathered some requirements, compared to what you know halfway through the project is a big difference, because you adapt, you learn, you understand a lot of different things as you get started, but it really takes getting started to learn that. So that's number 2. How about the third Agile principle?
The third one is deliver working software frequently, from a couple of weeks to a couple of months, with a preference to a shorter time scale. So the key word to identify is working software. So it's not saying develop a lot of requirements or a lot of design documents. Have some kind of working software every few weeks and iterate. So this principle talks about if you take a time box of 3 weeks, and in that 3 weeks we say we're going to work on these 3 features and we're going to get this done, and this is full-fledged working. This is not just done. This is done. This can go to production and we can receive feedback from the customer. So another thing that this principle says is it's not very explicit. It says couple of weeks to a couple of months. Where you're at in your Agile journey, you can maybe decide on that duration. I personally prefer 2 weeks, because it's not 1 week where it's too tight. It's really hard to produce a vertical slice, but it's also not 1 month where people literally forget what happened in that month, right? So 2 weeks is kind of that sweet spot where teams can focus on building a fully functional features.
And that makes a lot of sense. A lot of teams that I've worked in have been 2 weeks, a couple have been 3 weeks.
Yeah, and
so
then again, so this is not very prescriptive. Now, if you look at one of the Scrum models, it says 1 to 4 weeks, right? But this one says few weeks to few months. So Agile as a mindset, the mindset is have working software and iterate.
Gotcha.
And it doesn't really prescribe on what is that exact iteration or time box is going to look like.